Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Yesterday we talked about reality check on love relationships, and we focused on the haram relationship. You had many questions, and some of you said, I won't be able to give up on K-pop or this thing or that thing. Why can't we just be friends? What about the cousin? What if he's younger than me? And so many other challenges like that. And I told you that when today we'll cover the topic, you will understand why sometimes it is so difficult for you to give up on a certain thing. So if you understand it for yourself, you will also understand it for your friends. Today we're going to be talking about reality check on addictions. We have to remember our principles. We need to be self-motivated to manage everything. So what is your decision about your addictions? Because addiction is something which can alter your brain. It doesn't let you be healthy. And when we are talking about addiction, it's not just related to substance. There are so many factors which are involved in addictive patterns. And today, inshallah, we'll be focusing on that. But to start with, look at this quiz and score yourself. Number 1, I have made up my mind that I will never use drugs. I am free of any compulsive behavior such as gambling, shopping, overeating, web surfing, or endless screen time. When it comes to choice about addictions, I can make my own decision and don't give in to the peer pressure. I have been addiction free for last 30 days. And as I said, think of anything which has addictive pattern. I avoid situations where there is going to be heavy drinking or drugs. I stay away from internet porn. I hang out with friends that share my views about addictions. I encourage my friends to stay away from harmful substances. I never let my friend be involved in addictions. I'm free of any eating disorders such as anorexia or bulimia. So now you can score yourself. We have that standard score with us, more than 40. That means you're on a high road. All you have to do is just maintain yourself there, and yes, guide your friends as well. If you are in the middle ground, that's when you need to be like continuously making an effort to excel. And if your score is less than 29, that's where you need to like pay extra attention to today's session. So first of all, let us try to understand what is addiction. So addiction is something that we do repeatedly, we enjoy it, and we want to do it again and again. Having said that, what would be the difference then between habit and addiction? Because habit is also something we do repeatedly, we enjoy it, and we want to do it again and again. Okay, addictions are habits that affect you adversely. Habit can be bad but not harmful, whereas addiction can be harmful. Habit is something you do unintentionally, and addiction is something you want to do. Interesting. We are addicted to something that leads to our downfall. Yeah. So habit is something in which you have control over your choices. In addiction, you don't have control over your choices. You just submit to whatever is there. Habit gives you long-term benefit, whereas addiction will give you short-term benefit. Habit is always going to be halal, and addiction is always going to be haram. Sometimes even healthy patterns, if they don't stay in moderation, they also are damaging. Remember one time when they were like companions of the Prophet, and they were talking to Aisha Radhiyallahu anha, and they were trying to figure out the routine that the Prophet ﷺ followed, and then one of them said, oh, I am not going to sleep, or I'm not going to eat, and I'm just going to constantly fast. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he heard them make remarks like that, he was angry. He said, I fast, I sleep, I eat, I spend time with my wives. So moderate patrons are always healthy patrons. Like, sometimes we eat everything and then we want to go on a crash diet plan. So that's not healthy. It has to be a lifestyle change that you need to work on. Now, for addiction, you have to understand 3 brutal realities. Number 1 reality is they can become stronger than you. Because whenever there is an addictive pattern in your life and you feel, oh, I can easily control it. But no, honey, you won't be able to control it. A time will come when you will not have any control and you will be so helpless in front of that. Reality number 2 is it's not just about you. Like we say, it's my life, who cares? But ultimately when something gets affected in your system, in even you, inside you, because of those addiction, who is taking you, rushing you around to the experts? Who is paying for your either counseling or medical expenses or extra coaching, tuition fee just because of you got the screen? And if you compare it with the reality number 1, that they can become stronger than you. When you get your phone, you always promise your parent, oh, I won't be addicted to it. I'll just use it for a short period of time. I won't make all those accounts. I'm not going to add the guys to it. And then what happens? Time comes, you are doing everything that you promised that your parents, you wouldn't be doing it. And ultimately, your grades are going down and your parents are earning money. It's their hard-earned money. They get up in the morning, they're working the whole day, either within home, outside home, managing all expenses, paying for your tuition fee. Okay, let's say even if you are living in some place where the state is taking care of your tuition fee, but there is so many emotional strings attached. They are up the whole night, they're worried about you, you're going through different dilemmas, and they are caught up in the same drama which you, the rest of them can just relax and enjoy, but your parents can't do that. There's so many stakeholders within your own home. So remember, addictions, any addictive pattern is not only going to be about your life, it is definitely going to affect all the people around you. And reality number 3 is addictions, they always destroy your dreams. One of the addiction is having these love affairs. You're craving to be with some guy all the time. Since you know that you can't get married at this time, so what you're doing is like moving on from one relationship to another relationship just for the heck of it and saying, I'm not serious about it, we're just friends. And that is also an addictive pattern, and it is going to ultimately destroy the dreams. Yes, games are big addiction for many of the youngsters. Another important thing that we have to understand is we live in a life of denial. We have this denial which is very deep rooted inside us when it comes to our addictions. And what kind of denials we have? Oh, I can quit anytime I want to. Well, honey, you are never quitting it. Or if you quit it, you feel like an abnormal person, you're irritated, you show all those hang-up syndrome effects that any addict, even with the substance abuse, comes up with. Or you knit tapestry of lies to cover up your problems. It's because of him or her or this and that, our teacher is like that, the curriculum is like that. And this is because my parents, they have been having their own struggles and they never had time for me and they were just fulfilling my demands and everything, and so because of that I am paranoid or I'm going through these crises. And they center their lives on their addictions and they always want to be living on the high. So let's have a reality check on this. The reality check is, listen, whenever you adopt something in your life, at least read about it. If you want to have a screen with you, read researches. Don't say, oh, it's all trash. Oh, I know if I just talk to my mom and I talk to some senior person or talk to a teacher or attend a certain workshop, all they're going to tell me is this is haram and this is not right and this is not something that you should have. And I mean, like, they don't want us to have any fun. They just speak the language of our parents. They don't understand, we are a different generation. But what do the hardcore facts say? That is what something we have to understand. We need to read books. People have written books on them. And we say, oh, I don't want to go into all those kind of self-help books. They are no good. Well, they are the best sellers and people have written everything on facts. What are the roots of addiction? Now, if you look at the roots of addiction, come some of the reasons that you need to understand. Number one, you feel insecure and you desperately want to belong somewhere. That is when you move towards this addictive patterns. Or your friends are doing it and you feel pressurized to do it. Or you're trying to hide some sort of a pain. It could be some trauma in the family. Because of that, you are moving towards addictive pattern rather than staying healthy yourself. Another reason could be you feel confined and you want to rebel. And out of that, people go for smoking and drugs and just such relationship and even screen time, increasing their screen time. You want to escape your problems, current problems, rather than solving them, and that is what the youth of today is doing. They just want to be glued to their screens, staying in their own rooms and their zones, and they don't want to be connected to the real people around them. Or sometimes kids are bored or they're just curious, and out of that they end up into addictions and addictive patterns. And that is something that needs to be defined or needs to be handled well. So let us try to see how addictions they develop. Very interestingly, addictions, they start as micro addictions. What is this micro addiction? It's like a thought process which is in your head, and this thought process is something that you keep going over. It's usually a very negative pattern kind of a thought process. Nobody else is able to sort of assess what is happening in your head, but your own mind, in your own paradigm, is affecting your feelings, your thoughts, and ultimately it's going to reflect in your behavior. So what kind of micro addictions are there? Usually, as I said, they are negative thoughts. How many of you would say you are a positive or a negative person? Positive, negative, trying to be positive yet neutral. Well, by large, you have to see if you have a positive personality or a negative personality. Positive, okay. So that's good. We have many positive people in this group. So micro addiction is something which is a negative activity which takes place in your brain. So let me give you some examples of that. One of this micro addiction is, we call it rumination. Rumination is when something happened. Let's say you got up in the morning and let's say your mom, she made you breakfast. You told her to make you peanut butter sandwich and she fried the egg for you. You got so upset, you were leaving home, and the whole day, whatever happened, the whole day you kept thinking about it. You were just talking to yourself in your head and just repeatedly saying, I told her 3 times, make me peanut butter sandwich, and she made me an egg. How would she do that? How could she do that? She always does that to me. She loves my brother or sister more than me. And this is like a rumination. This is like one thought of something that bothered you in the morning, and then you spend another couple of hours constantly thinking about it. Another form of this micro addiction is when you do negative appraisal. Like you look at 15 things good in a person, but you always pick up something which is bad. You always pick up a negative trait of a person and you amplify that. Another micro addiction is when you do your emotional masking. You are feeling upset about something. Someone asks you, listen, did you mind what I said? Are you upset about something? And you're definitely upset with the same person who's asking you. And rather than saying this to her that yes, I'm upset and let's talk about it, you say, no, why would I be upset? No, I'm totally fine. What you're doing is inside yourself, you're killing yourself with this thought. So that's a micro addiction. Well, if you don't want to share something, that's different, but then you don't overindulge in it in your head. You then learn to move on. This is something that I don't want it to harbor in my system and destroy my system. It is annoying because you can sense the body language, because the behavior will reflect and the other person is not even giving you an idea what's wrong. Okay, then another form of micro addiction is when you have hostility towards someone. Another form of micro addiction is when you do things with a short-term focus. Right now, let me do this, and whatever the consequence, I'll think about it tomorrow. So that's when you again have a lot of problems. We will all have micro addictions. Even the most positive person is going to have some degree of micro addiction, but they will be able to wash it off. It's like, every day you clean your room. When you eat food, you clean your dish. You get up in the morning every day, you brush your teeth, wash your face, cleanse your face. So there's some activities, which cleansing activity we do every day. Similarly, we all have micro addictions to a certain level. That's very normal human behavior. But normal healthy people don't overindulge in them. They always identify if there is a micro addiction which is going to be becoming like a fungus inside you. So if there is something like that, that's when you try to resolve it and you try to work around it. Okay.